Good morning. Why I am up at 2 in the morning for a YouTube video is crazy, but as you know from the title of this video, I'm going to be attempting to do a 24-hour reading challenge today. It's currently 2 o'clock in the morning, so we'll see how long I can stay up. My goals for this video: I want to finish 3 books today, at least. I think that could be very achievable because I'm currently in the middle of 2 books, so it's kind of cheating because I have to finish the books, not start them. But I've been in the middle of these books for days and I just want to finish them so bad. I don't know how many pages I want to read, but I am going to be interested to track how many pages I read by the end of today. But the first book that I want to start out with today is actually called The Fae Princess. I'll put an image here on the screen. Basically, this is a series of 4 novellas that's like a dark Peter Pan retelling, and they're all bad. All of them are actually very bad. I don't know why I continued with the series in order to finish it. It's just messy, smutty, not much plot, not very well described anything, bad writing books, and I'm still finishing the series. Don't ask me why. I don't know. For this video in particular, I'm reading it because it's a novella, it's fast paced, and I can get through it quickly, and hopefully that'll be a good way to start off the video with a successful book finished. So let's just get right into reading. I finished the first book in this challenge. I'm so excited. So 5:30, well 5:40 in the morning at this point, and I just finished the first book, the Fae Princess book, 226 pages start to finish. It's done, and that's a good sense of accomplishment going into the rest of this video, which is why I wanted to start with something a little shorter. I was also really hoping that the sun would have risen by this point, so we'd have some nice pretty sunrise lighting in here. Unfortunately, even though it is 5:45 a.m., it is still pitch black outside, so I'm waiting for the sun to rise hopefully within the next hour, but in the meantime we'll just have to stick to the lamp and fairy light lighting behind me, so I'm sure this picture quality isn't great because the lighting isn't great, but we move. As far as my thoughts on the Fae Princess book that I just finished, I gave it 2.5 stars, but it wasn't surprising because I've given all the other books in the series also 2.5 stars. Like I said, I went into it just expecting a fun time and not expecting a good time, and that's basically what it gave. The plot was very predictable, except for that plot just at the end about Peter Pan. I wasn't expecting that, but I like it. I like that last little plot twist. She alluded to something that I've also thought about for a while now, so I'm glad that I also guessed that plot twist, I guess. It's, like I said, very predictable. Anyway, 2.5 stars, not much to say about this series. I don't recommend it if you want a good book, but if you want a fast-paced, smutty, fun, quick series about Fae and Neverland, this would be a fun one to pick up. It will ruin your childhood imagination of the story of Peter Pan, but do with that information what you will. So as far as the next books that I want to read for this video, I have a couple options. I am currently in the middle of 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was on my fall TBR that I posted about 2 weeks ago. No, more than that. At this point, it's 3 weeks ago, huh? A while ago. I'm really loving this book. The writing style is amazing. I mean, better in comparison to the Fae Princess book, but just in general, it's also really amazing. While I am really enjoying this, unfortunately, the pacing is very slow. And like I said, Leigh Bardugo's writing is amazing. It's powerful. I wouldn't say it's lyrical and beautiful. I think it's easy enough to read, but I think she just packs a lot of punch in what she's writing, and the way that she organizes her stories, in that she does an info dump everything at the beginning. She kind of gives you little snippets and tidbits as the story goes on, and she spaces them out well so that you get what you need to know and nothing more until you need to know the next thing. I like it, but this is definitely a book that's taking me a while to read, a while to get through, and I don't know if that's the next one I want to pick up. Like I said, I'm so a little tired and I don't want something that's going to put me to sleep. The other option is something much more fast-paced, which is Love of My Afterlife. This was my book club pick for August. If you didn't know, it's the last day of August today when I'm filming this, so I am very late to the game in reading this because I want to catch up and finish it for my book club, but also I started this a couple days ago, Monday. I'm not loving it. I really want to love it because it's been going viral. It's such a cute cover, such a cute concept of a girl who goes into the afterlife and then meets someone who potentially may be her soulmate, and so she gets tasked with 10 days to find him and kiss him, or she'll be taken back to the afterlife forever. Now, this book that I've read so far is so funny. The writing is hilarious. The problem is I'm not loving the main character. She's very quirky and honestly naive. So many instances that give me secondhand embarrassment, so it's kind of harder to get through this one simply because I'm not loving it so far. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook of Love of My Afterlife in the car today, so that's gonna help me get through it faster, but I think what I want to do instead is read this book that I literally heard of yesterday by a YouTuber called Where Good Girls Go to Die. I'll put the cover on the screen right here. I honestly don't remember a single thing about this book except for people saying that it was dramatic dramatic and pining and dark romance and fast-paced and wonderful. And those words put together will make me read a book. So again, I'm going into this completely blind. I'll tell you the plot summary whenever I know what happens in this book. It may be brother's best friend or best friend's brother, one of the two. That's all I got so far. So let's just like start it. It's a KU book, so it's available on Kindle Unlimited. I just want to start it, get through it, and I'll let you guys know if I have any updates. I am looking rough. Oh my goodness. It's 8 a.m. so 6 hours in, 18 hours left to go. So we're a quarter way through and going strong. I just hit the 50% mark in my book. This is going so well. Let me actually hold my microphone so I can like talk properly. When I tell you, I didn't know the plot of this book, but this book jumps into it so fast. The main character's name is Liv or Livy, and she has a brother named Mason, and her brother's best friend is Parker, and she's known Parker since they were like little. He and Mason have been friends forever, and she's always had a thing for Parker, but he was kind of always unavailable. So it's a classic brother's best friend story, and it goes back and forth between present time when they're older to 4 or 5 years earlier. I feel like you're like really low down here. Let me like raise you up. Anyway, lots of flashback scenes back and forth showing their first relationship, and then now in present time when they're maybe getting a second chance, but also he is still very much unavailable. The one thing I'm thinking about is this book is like 350 pages, so it's still a relatively fast-paced book, and the writing is very fast. The chapters are quite short, it's not overly descriptive, and it really jumps you into the action quick, which I appreciate, especially for a challenge like this when I'm trying to get through books quickly. However, it makes me think, because I'm pushing through books so fast, like I'm not even taking a break here. I know that the writing is fast-paced, but is it too fast-paced, or does it just seem too fast-paced because I'm going through it so quickly? You know what I'm saying? I think if I was reading this at a normal pace over like multiple days, I would still think the writing speed was very fast, but I think it's just exaggerated now that I'm reading it all at once. So I need to go like put myself together and look more presentable for camera. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I'll jump back in to the rest of this book. Who knew all it would take is a good shower and like doing my eyebrows for me to feel so much better and rejuvenated for continuing this challenge. It's currently 10:40 in the morning, so I have around a little over 15 hours left. I just finished Where Good Girls Go to Die, and it was really good. I want to talk about this book in just a second, but I want to say first, I was marking off my rating on Goodreads, and the next book I read is going to be my 50th book of the year, which means I'm basically going to complete my Goodreads reading goal for 2024 in this video. And mind you, it's August 31st. Like, I still have 4 more months in the year. It's just so exciting. But anyway, let's talk about the book Where Good Girls Go to Die. This book started off so well, like so well. We got right into the action. I was obsessed with the characters. I was obsessed with the story. I could feel the mutual pining by like the very first page. Like, it was incredible the way that the story was set up. Unfortunately, I did have some problems with it. Number one, I talked about the pacing of the book earlier and how I couldn't tell if it was written really fast, like fast paced, or if it was just me reading it quickly that was making me feel that way. Although I was reading it rather quickly, I have determined that especially the scenes at the end I feel were very rushed. There's a lot of slow, really good build-up, which is the point of a slow burn with mutual pining. Like, you want that slow build-up. However, the ending, I feel like with the conflicts that was occurring, the plot twist and how they resolved things, it all happened very, very fast. And then there also was like a lot of spicy scenes at the end. In my opinion, one too many, because it took away from time that could have been spent developing other things like resolving the conflict, but instead it rushed through that to just get to the spice. My other big issue with this book is that it does have the cheating trope in it, which is something that I do not love at all. I obviously don't condone cheating in real life, but I can like separate real life from like fictional books. So while the cheating trope in this book did really annoy me, and I think that the book could have been done just as well and have the exact same story without that trope in it, it didn't like hinder my reading experience to see that trope being there, but it did make me question how I was going to rate this book. Those two things being said, however, I still as a whole really enjoyed this story, especially the first half. Like I said, was just super engaging, and I really liked our main characters. As a whole, I decided to give this book, I think, 4 stars. I was going back and forth between 3.5 and 4. I gave it 4 stars because I did just generally like enjoy this book a lot more than I expected to. I feel like this is a very fair rating. This was book 49 out of 50 for me, so the next book that I finish is going to check off that reading goal list. I'm so excited about it, and I'm thinking what I need to pick up next is Love in My Afterlife. I told you guys that I wanted to do this in audiobook format just for the sake of me reading the book faster. So I'm going to pull it up on Spotify. Hopefully, since I'm already like 30-40% of the way through, it won't be that many hours to finish. And while I listen, I'll go grab breakfast and I'll update you guys when I get back. So I just got back from breakfast, and quick update because I saw on Storygraph that my reading challenge for the year actually said 48 books out of 50. Turns out Goodreads, that stupid app, glitched and thought I read Airfire twice this year. I only read it once this year, but it was a reread from 2020, so that was the problem. So technically, I'm reading Love of the Afterlife. That's technically my 49th book of the year, not my 50th book of the year, so I'm just hoping that I can get through this book relatively quickly so that the book after that will be the actual 50th book of the year. So a little disappointing, but I'm still hopefully going to cross off that goal at some point today. I just got to the halfway point in this challenge about 6 minutes ago, so we are currently over 12 hours through, and I'm happy to say that I have completed my third book of the video. I obviously didn't start this book in the video, but I have finished it, so that's what I'm proud of. I did not know how I was going to think about this book. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I was feeling very meh with it in the middle. I feel like there's a little bit of a slump in the middle. The main character was really naive and annoying to me, and she kept getting into situations that gave me secondhand embarrassment as a reader, which is always one of my least favorite things to do while reading. Although cheesy, okay, this book is cheese. I do think that the ending, like third, really helped this book a lot. I think that the beginning was really exciting and the ending was wholesome and sweet, and it got the point across for sure. It like drilled the point into your head a little bit of having a life worth living, like a Hallmark movie, but like it's sweet and wholesome, and I can appreciate it. I'll put a little flip through video of all my annotations over this clip so you can kind of see what I've written in it. I listened to the audiobook, but only for like 30 minutes. Once I picked up the book when I got back from breakfast, I just kind of binged through the rest of it. So yeah, it was really, really good. So I think I'm going to be giving this book 3.5 stars. I think 3.5 is a good way to settle on. It doesn't give me that like really high 4-star feeling, and I don't think I'm going to pick it up again. However, I do think that it has a nice message, and the beginning and the ending saved it from getting like a 3-star, which I was going to originally give it, because in the middle I was slumping, like I said, but I think it's a little bit higher than that. So 3.5 is my final rating. I'll put that on Goodreads and Storygraph, and that is my 49th book of the year. So whatever I read next is going to be my 50th book, but honestly I haven't thought that far. I could pick up Six of Crows, which is on my desk over there, but I'm about to leave because I want to head over to Barnes & Noble and also grab lunch, and I have a package that I need to grab, so I have a lot of different things to do, and I think I'm going to need to listen to an audiobook while doing all of that stuff. So I'm going to pull up my phone real quick and browse and see what I'm interested in. So give me 10 seconds and I'll let you know what I pick in just a minute. Okay, it's been like more than a few minutes. It's been like almost 10 minutes, but I was trying to find an audiobook that I wanted to read, and ideally I want to read something that I have on my physical TBR. That way I can like work through that as soon as possible. I'm going to go buy some more books today, so I want to make sure that I am diminishing my physical TBR as I'm like adding more books to it rather than just like adding and adding and adding. So I think I'm going to be picking up Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I have it over there. I'm too lazy to get out of bed so I can actually like hold it, but I have heard mixed things. Some people love it, some people hate it. Personally, I gave the first Powerless book 4 stars, and then I gave the novella Powerful 3 stars. So I'm not a huge fan of this series, but I still have hope for the series that it could still become better. So I'm hoping that because I didn't love Powerless and people said that Reckless is very different from Powerless, that I will love Reckless. But we'll just have to see by the end of this video what I think. So I'm gonna head out and go to Barnes. Hopefully they have some good books there. I mean, it's Barnes. They always have good books. just got back from Barnes & Noble and I wanted to do a little book haul in my car just for a change of scenery, but it is like a bajillion and a half degrees outside, so I'm gonna make this super quick because if I turn the car on, the AC plays, it's loud. Anyway, I like to buy most books secondhand so they're cheaper, so I didn't want to go in and get too many books because Barnes & Noble prices are crazy. They did have a 50% off sale on specific hardback books, but I went down the list and there weren't many on the shelf that caught my interest, but one in particular did, and that is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This book I've heard really good things about, and I'm currently reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, as you guys know, and the writing style is amazing, so I'm really excited to get into this one. This is apparently her most romantic book she's ever written. It's a historical fantasy romance from what I've heard, and not only is like the cover design gorgeous, but look at these like inner pages with the pomegranates. I just think the book is very pretty and I wanted to have this edition to annotate. And then the other book that I got was One Dark Window. This is another very popular fantasy book that has come out in the past like couple years or so. It is in a duology. Everyone raves about this book, so I thought I should add it in here. I like the cover, although I don't love these like gold detailing on the edges. That can't be helped, but I wanted to have the physical copy once again to annotate, and there is a sticker on this, but it peels right off, so that's lovely. Anyway, I am absolutely burning up, so let's go back to the dorm. Exactly 100 pages into Reckless, so that's literally 26%, so a quarter way in, and I also just hit the 9-hour mark left in the challenge, so we're doing really well. I don't want to speak too soon, but like this challenge is going great. Like I was nervous about being too tired, about just slumping and not being able to get through books, about just being bored of reading and like not wanting to continue, but we've done, let me do the math in my head, 15 hours straight of reading. I've only taken little breaks for like 5-10 minutes. Genuinely, I've been trying very hard to continuously read, and 15 hours straight is so good. I've already read 3.5 books, and this book so far has captured me in. I know people have mixed feelings about this. Some people say it's very slow and not much plot, which I haven't really gotten to the middle part of the book yet, where things usually slump. But as far as the beginning goes, I really appreciated how the book starts. It starts literally 4 days after book 1 ends, so really continuous. I love when series do that, when it picks up right when the first book or the previous book left off, because it means you don't have to catch up on any world building, any plot. You already know everything that's happened and you're just continuing the story like it's one long book. So that's like my favorite thing ever. Kai and Peyton are really awesome characters, and my main issue with the first book that I gave 4 stars not 5 was because of the writing style. I felt was very YA, a lot of tell not show, and overall I felt like the trials concept it's been done before. It wasn't really original in my opinion, so I'm interested to see what Lauren Roberts does with this plot. But for now we're just getting the character development of the two of them separately, and then when they finally reunite, and let me just say that I am enjoying this a lot. Unfortunately, I do have some bad news, and that is right outside my window is a football stadium, and they are having a football game tonight. Towards the evening, they're going to be playing lots of loud music, and they're going to be doing lots of loud cheering because hopefully we win the game, but obviously I don't care about football because I'm not there. I'm currently filming this video instead, so I'm going to try to obviously update clips later on in the evening, but if there's a lot of like me not talking to the camera, it's because the band is so loud I can't hear myself think. So for now, I need to get further into this book. Now that I've composed myself, I have some thoughts about Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I understand that, but I'm still standing on this hill. This book was better than Powerless. It was. And if you disagree with me, whatever. Argue with the wall. This book is the mature older sister of Powerless, and I think you guys are afraid to admit it, that this one's actually better. The number one critique for this, and by the way, if you can hear the things outside, I'm trying so hard to like time my updates with when the commentators at the football stadium stop running their mouths, but if you can hear it, I'm sorry. I'm tired of waiting, I gotta say something. The number one critique that I've seen online for this book is people say that it suffers from sophomore book slump or second book slump, and that basically nothing happens in this book. And plot-wise, I kind of understand you. This book is a lot of traveling and talking, and more traveling and more talking, and a couple small fight scenes and then back to traveling and talking. However, this book had some great character development in it, and that is what I live for. When I think of the best character development I've ever read, I think of Air of Fire from the Throne of Glass series. This was not at that level, but it was pretty damn close. The conversations that Kai and Peyton had in this book, I need to go back, I might actually do this right after I film this clip, and go back and add annotations to this book, because I decided not to annotate it because I didn't annotate the first one, but there are so many good lines in this book that I wish that I had highlighted or something. They talk about grief and being monsters because of their past and how their pasts haunt them, and they talk about forgiveness and their trauma, and there's just so much packed into these conversations, and they're bantery for sure. You know, it's still an enemies to lovers relationship, but there was so much revealed in this book that I was like, wow, that just adds so much more depth to these characters. Were there additions that maybe the author thought of after book one, added them in last minute? Maybe, but I still appreciated them being there. And Kai, my love Kai, he is just so unfailingly romantic and just sticks by Peyton for everything. And Peyton, I love her character so much. She's so feisty, she's so fiery. I love their interactions, and I love how they hate each other, but they really don't hate each other, you know? The character work in this book was top tier, and I think the writing was also better than the first book. This gives me hope for finishing the series because it's just so good. So it unfortunately didn't give me 5-star feelings, but I did, like you guys saw, shed some tears at the end. Oh, the end plot twist. I forgot to even talk about that. And I'd love to talk about it if they weren't blaring music out my window. All right, finally they shut up. So like I was saying, the plot is at the end of this book. I guessed it earlier on because they were hinting at it for a while there. I didn't want to be right. Like, I thought I knew it was happening, but I didn't want what I thought they were planning to happen. And then I get to the last couple chapters, and what happened that I thought was going to happen happened, and I immediately broke into tears, and that's what you saw me doing like literally 15 minutes ago. Sobbing my eyes out because what the hell? What the hell, Lauren? I can't deal with this and have to wait for book 3 to come out to find out how this resolves. The first chapter and the last chapter both being in Kai's point of view and what the topics covered in the prologue and the epilogue absolutely wrecked me. Mentally, I'm doing really well, guys. I need Lauren Roberts to publish book 3 like actually yesterday. With that being done, I have officially completed my 2024 reading challenge. 50 books in this year, and it's August 31st. Well, it's about to be September 1st in about 2 hours, but I'm only looking to go up from here. I want to see how many books I can read this year. We'll just have to see by the end of the year how many I get to. God, the music is actually going to drive me insane. Good morning. It is the morning after my 24-hour reading challenge, and I honestly can't believe that I pulled a complete all-nighter simply reading books. Like, I thought that challenge was going to be so hard, and it was not easy by any means, but maybe I was just really in the mood for some reason. It was not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. I stayed up for all 24 hours, and I really only got tired at like the 21-hour mark. So like, I mean, I was tired in the morning when I first woke up, but then once I got into reading, I didn't want to stop. Really pat on the back. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I thought this was going to be pretty hard, and I succeeded the challenge. So I'm excited about that. I did wake up pretty early this morning because I had to go to church and volunteer. So I woke up at 8 o'clock. So I got about 6 hours of sleep after I went to bed at 2 a.m. I didn't vlog much last night. You guys saw those final clips, but I do want to do a final wrap up here about all the books that I read and my final stats from one complete day of reading. I completed 4 books in that time span, and the total page count I just calculated a second ago was 1,170. So almost 1,200 pages in 24 hours. hours is pretty damn good if you ask me. That's what, 50 pages an hour? Can I do math in my head? I think that's 50 pages an hour. So like, not bad. Not bad. Well, let's talk about the books themselves. So first I read The Fae Princes, which is the last book in this Peter Pan retelling series. I gave this book 2.5 stars. I was expecting to do that because the other 3 books in the series so far were all 2.5 stars. Characters were kind of bad. Like everything was bad about it, but like it was hilariously bad, which is why I finished the series. I don't recommend the series at all, but at least I finished it. The next book I read is also on the Kindle, and I read Where Good Girls Go to Die. This was a very fun brother's best friend. Best friend's brother. No, brother's best friend. Okay, I was right the first time. It wasn't anything crazy, not anything super original, but I just really fell into this super fast. This is a series, but I will not be continuing it. I think it's more like interconnected standalones. I don't really care about reading the other ones, honestly, but this was a good, just fun time. So I gave this one 4 stars. I do recommend it, but also, like I said earlier in this video, it does have the cheating trope in it. So if that's not something that you want to read about, maybe pass this one. Next, I finished The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. I enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. Like I said, in the middle it was a little slumpy, which is why I had put it down a couple days beforehand, but picking it up and just continuing to read it, honestly, I liked it. It was really funny. The main character, Delphi, was definitely a little naive and definitely a little annoying, but the other main characters, Cooper and Merritt, made up for it. I love both of them, and it had a very sweet message. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. Again, not my favorite thing ever. I will not be rereading this, but it was fun to annotate. It was a fun time, and that was basically it. And then my favorite book of the entire day so far, I picked up Reckless by Lauren Roberts, and I went into this one with pretty low expectations, not low, but just like mid expectations, but I loved this book. Oh my god, this was better than the first one, and I don't care if you disagree with me because I am objectively right. I'm kidding, but I gave this 4.5 stars. And also, after my last update last night, I went through and annotated the entire book, highlighted, underlined, tabbed so much. I love this book so much. Now, after I finished that book last night, I still had about like an hour left, and I did pick up Six of Crows, but I'm gonna be so for real, I did not read much. I read like 15 pages maybe, and I was reading so slow at that point, but I was just like trying to stay awake, trying to get through it, and this is not the easiest to get through as far as writing style, so I did not get far into this enough to say that I made a dent into it at all, but this was what I used to finish out that last like 45 minutes before 2 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock came, and I definitely put myself to bed. Like I needed to go to bed. It was enough. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want another 24-hour reading challenge in the future, because this was honestly more achievable than I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's like my college mindset, but I guess pulling an all-nighter isn't that hard if I was really enjoying myself with the reading. Yeah, that's all from me. Hope you have an amazing day. Subscribe, and I will see you next week for a new video. Bye!